anytime people start switching from something that is not natural to natural, so whether or not it's using essential oils instead of synthetic medications, or it's eating heavily processed foods and then switching to more natural foods, we become more in tune and are able to hear our bodies more. And it's interesting that this oil takes you to the next level with that.
Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
So, Heather, what are we popping open today?
We are popping open a bottle of Fennel, specifically sweet Fennel.
It is sweet.
It is sweet. It is a little bit of that licorice smell, which I can say is not my favorite.
Ditto. What's interesting is, as I'm smelling it right now, if I hold it just under my nose, I really don't like it. If I kind of hold it away, it's not so bad. It's interesting. It definitely smells different depending on how close it is to me.
It is quite strong, though. It's been open on my desk for a few minutes, and I have just kind of smelled it in the air, which I didn't expect. Not all bottles, if they're a foot and a half away, open on the desk, you can't always smell them. But this one I have been able to actively smell. And again, this isn't my favorite scent, unfortunately, because Fennel has a lot of great uses. I'm just not a huge licorice person, and that's what this smells like. I love everything bagels. Definitely don't need to eat them in public, more because of the garlic and the onion part of it. However, I only eat everything bagels if I know that there are no fennel seeds on it. I do not like fennel seeds.
So funny. And you feel the same way about Italian sausage too, right?
I do. Yes. Thank you. Good memory. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I only remember that because I do not like black licorice. And when you told me that, I was like, oh, interesting. Because I don't mind it. I guess with all the other flavoring of Italian sausage, I don't mind that at all. And interestingly enough, I haven't had this in years, but fennel, the plant, not bad. Especially my dad grills it.
Okay.
And somehow in the grilling, the flavor just tastes totally different. It has a hint of the smell, but nowhere near as strong or as black licoricey. So I don't know. Fennel's interesting.
It is interesting. And you can use it all three ways. And I'm going to go ahead and do the taste test, even though I'm not super excited about it. Because again, don't like licorice. When I opened the bottle to smell it, I was like, don't like the smell. But let's just see. Okay. Yep. Interestingly enough, it tastes like a plant right away. And then you get a little bit of that fennel, but it's also got a little bit of that sweet. Not my favorite thing. However, I know people that like fennel or licorice, and I think they would absolutely love this because it has a very specific flavor to it. This is good for digestion. So I feel like if you are having stomach issues and love licorice or, fennel, then this is an easy one for you to either take roof of the mouth, put in a capsule or some water, but you can also just rub it on topically if you wanted to too.
Well, it's interesting too, watching your facial expression, because we just recently did the digestion episode and you had a much stronger reaction to digestion than this one. And maybe it was just the day and whatnot. But it's funny because for both of us, we said for digestion, we didn't like the flavor or the smell because of this oil. But now I'm thinking maybe it was a different oil that you were reacting to from a taste test standpoint.
So the lingering taste is interesting. It's definitely sweet. And I think sweetness is hard to describe. I think if you like sweet things, you understand that there are variations of sweet. Some things are sweeter than others. This just has that underlying sweet sensation, but it's what it's doing in the back of my throat that gives me that fennel taste that I don't love. But you're right. I feel like my face expressions are not being expressed the same way that they were with the digestion.
So interesting. Well, like you, I wish I liked the smell of this one more, because just prepping for this episode and reading up on everything it does so many good things. I think of it just for, tummy issues, but I didn't know that it has all kinds of hormone balancing properties as well. And it says here that you just apply it to your lower abdomen. So if I like the smell, I would totally do that, but don't like the smell.
But I wonder if it's a little bit too of, we've talked a lot about certain oils resonate with you at certain times. And so I may have had a really strong response to it in the past. It is not quite as bothersome to me as I expected it to be right this second, honestly. So maybe, whatever circumstances right this second, I am in a little bit more agreeance with it than I have been at other times. Or maybe I need it. Maybe I need it right now. And so my body's like, oh, hey, it's not that bad because you actually would benefit from this.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. The other way I have used this, and I have not personally used it for this, but I have given it as a gift to many new moms, and they have sworn that has really helped with milk supply. So.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that with lactation stuff. I remember putting, even though I wasn't super into it, like fennel and stuff into like cookies or whatever. So, okay.
Yep.
Well, the emotional benefit of this one is this is actually the oil of responsibility. And I feel like this one would make sense for you as the functional nutritionist, just because I feel like you deal with a lot of different eating issues. But it talks about how fennel supports an individual in listening to the subtle messages of the body. This is especially important in situations where there has been a loss of connection to the body's natural signals due to emotional eating, severe dieting, eating issues, or even drug abuse. Through attunement with the body's actual needs, fennel curbs cravings for experiences that dull the senses. This oil then supports the individual in hearing the body's signals of hunger, thirst, satiation, or exhaustion. Fennel's also supportive in regaining one's appetite for nourishment, food, and life itself.
So good. So good. I feel like anytime people start switching from something that is not natural to natural, so whether or not it's using essential oils instead of synthetic medications, or it's eating heavily processed foods and then switching to more natural foods, we become more in tune and are able to hear our bodies more. And it's interesting that this oil like takes you to the next level with that as well. So really cool. Again, wish I liked the smell so that I could just wear it all day and get all these benefits.
But maybe when you need it, you will.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we have lots of oils in each of our collections that are not necessarily oils that we use all of the time or that we love the scent of or whatever. But I do think that they all have their benefits. And I am thankful for each and every one of them when I actually need that particular oil.
Same. Yeah, I totally agree. Because it really makes such a huge difference to be able to reach for the oil when you need it. And that reminds me, I feel like we haven't talked about this in a while, but again, having a reference book to know why you need the oil, or to have a reference book where you can look up what specifically you're dealing with and then look up the oils that go with it, and then to have a fully stocked shelf of oils makes such a huge difference. And most of the reference books have a whole section where it's like pages and pages of list of ailments and then says, go to this page to see all the oils that will work for this. And so if you don't have a reference book yet, highly recommend you get one. And we do have a free tool to help you figure out which reference book would be best for you. So we have an essential oil reference book matchmaker, totally free. There's a link in the description of this show that you can click on to give us your email address, and then we'll get that sent directly to you. So definitely take advantage of that if you haven't gotten it before, or if you're interested in getting a new reference book.
And they are updated as products are updated too.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. All right. Well, anything else on fennel?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, we hope you found this informative, and we'll have a new episode for you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.